So from Gwangju, South Korea.
Now his first major league start.
Swung on and missed for strike three, and a good start for the right-hander. Strike three call. So with back-to-back strikeouts.
Extraordinary pitching talent. He was throwing his fastball in the mid-90s.
Strike three call. He's having a terrific year.
Swung on and missed. So works out of trouble again.
Mets and the Cubs, bottom of the third, picking up tied at 1. Jay So facing Sammy Sosa. And Sammy's going to jump on the first pitch fastball out to center. 35th of the season, 534 of his career. He ties Jimmy.
Lofton beats that ball into the ground, and Garcia kicks it. He shows bunt, and he pushes it toward Phillips and gets away from him, and everybody's safe. 2-2. Broken bat roller, that might be 2. 1 at second, and it gets away from Phillips. Sosa's safe. Chops slowly toward third. Wigginton's going to have to hurry, and he can't make a bare hand play. Bonnick, a good lead. And Sammy hits a towering fly ball. Meyer and the Cubs down to their final strike. Look out.
미 프로야구 뉴욕 매치의 서재응이 또다시 구승 사냥에 실패했습니다. 서재응은 시카고 리글리필드에서 열린 시카고 컵스와의 경기에 선발 등판해 6회까지 석점을 내준 뒤 3대1로 뒤진 10회에 가깝습니다.
Lofton beats that ball into the ground, and Garcia kicks it. Lofton, big turn. He's going to try for 2, and he's going to make it. Ball dropped again. And he shows bunt, and he pushes it toward Phillips and gets away from him, and everybody's safe. 2-2. Broken bat roller, that might be 2. 1 at second, and it gets away from Phillips. Sosa's safe. A run is in. It's 1-2. Two Mets errors in the first. Plate the first Cub run, and Cedeno hits that ball a ton into center field. Lofton will turn and watch that sail out of the ballpark. First home run for Cedeno since the 21st of August. Chops slowly toward third. Wigginton's going to have to hurry. He can't make a bare hand play. Infield hit for Grunzolana. I think a good lead. And Sandy hits a towering fly ball. Center field deep. Duncan as far as he can go. A 2-run homer for Sosa. Coming to them. Ground ball toward the hole. Alex Gonzalez just checked in. Long throw and not in time. Fly ball left center field. Tailing away from Lofton. Kenny going. He can't get it. It's off the ivy. And Galante is going to wave home. Let's see if Lofton can get things started here in the bottom of the first. And for the 5th consecutive game, Steve, the Cubs are seeing a new face on that mound.
Well, last night they liked the face they saw. They faced Jeremy Griffiths. 4 hits and 3 runs in the first inning, keyed by Kenny Lofton's base hit.
Lofton beats that ball into the ground, and Garcia kicks it. Lofton, big turn. He's going to try for 2, and he it. Ball dropped again. What should have been an easy out at first instead turns into a two-base error.
Only Atlanta, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati with a worse defense than the Mets. And this one hits off the heel of the glove. Kenny Lofton alertly takes second base. And he's hustling all the way on the play, knowing they've got no chance to get him at second.
So there's a break, and now Mark Grudzielanek a chance to put the Cubs in front. All Mark has done is record 10 hits in his last 18 at-bats. And he shows bunt, and he pushes it toward Phillips. That gets away from him, and everybody's safe.
Then it goes to sacrifice E3.
Art House looking for a total do-over, and the Cubs very happy with first and third and nobody out.
Good bunt by Grudzielanek, and the rest of this play is downright ugly. So the Cubs trying to take advantage of the fact that this very young, inexperienced Met team is not playing real well.
And let's see if Sammy can start to heat it up. Sammy has not swung the bat as effectively as he would like. Just 3 hits on the homestand.
Well, he's going to have a big night tonight. He knows that So cannot throw it by him. If he sits and looks off-speed pitch, he's going to hurt him. The wind, what little there is blowing straight out. And Sammy's due for one of those hot streaks.
You bet. First and third for the Cubs. And that's off the plate for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes.
Jay So should have 2 out, nobody on. Instead, he has 2 on and nobody out.
One and 0, the count to Sosa. Swing, and that's hammered down the left field line and out of play.
That's the curveball that didn't do much, and unfortunately for Sammy, got out a little too quickly on it. As you can see, when you hang them there, you've got some problems.
Billy and Shirley Williams enjoying the game tonight. As the Cubs again try to break in front here in the first. Interesting note on Jay So. Bobby Valentine was one of the men that signed the kid out of Gwangju, South Korea. That was back in 1997. And it took So 5 years to get to the big leagues. Here he is with a record of 8-11. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Sammy Sosa here in the Cubs' first inning. Over but low. 2-2 your count. Looks, Tony, like there's a big group of Mets fans sitting just to the right of the hitter's background in right center field.
Either that or they're celebrating Halloween.
Quite possible, yeah.
Well, maybe Sammy can give him a souvenir if So stays away.
Close play at first. Grudzielanek, remember, got picked off last night. Could be Illinois football fans, too.
No reason to stray too far with Sammy up. And Moises Alou on deck.
2-2. Broken bat roller. That might be 2. 1 at second. And it gets away from Phillips. Sosa's safe. A run is in. It's 1-0 Cubs. As the Mets defense here in this first inning, in a word, has been atrocious.
Well, Sammy gets a run batted in. That's number 93. And he broke Phillips's glove. That relay from Garcia to Phillips just went right through the webbing. This should have been 2. It's not. And the Cubs are getting, well, they're going to have at least 5 outs this inning, possibly more before this inning is over.
You sure that's Phillips or is that Bono from U2? I can't tell. Here's Alou.
Very rarely see the ball. I mean, Dunston threw real hard.
Yeah.
I never saw it go right through Mark Grace's glove. And Garcia has a good arm, but not that good.
Line drive into left field. Perez handles the sinking line drive, and that nearly was played into another runner aboard here in this first inning. 2 outs, runner at first. Here's Randall Simon, who plated his first 2 Wrigley Field RBIs since joining the Cubs last night.
Well, here's the hardest hit ball of the inning, and it's the first time that the Met defense have been able to secure the out without some histrionics. And Moises a little unhappy with that. He hit the ball as hard as you can hit it, but the sinking line drive was handled by Perez.
Randall Simon at 277 on the year. And he pops the first pitch up behind the plate. Piazza will put the squeeze on it, and the Mets defense gives the Cubs an unearned run in the first inning.
And that's where he lifted the lazy fly ball. So hasn't hit very well, and Mark Pryor can get out of this inning by retiring a guy that comes in hitting 111.
Fly ball again. Lofton has to go back now, and Pryor's out of the second inning. The rubber match and then come back.
Now there's a good idea.
Yeah, see, I thought you'd like that. Seeing as how you haven't experienced the Far East, here's Ramirez going to work first, and that's off the facade of the roof to the right side. Strike 1.
I'm hoping to do that this offseason, as a matter of fact. I'm going to Far East Mesa.
You've always been known as a man that's willing to broaden his horizon.
To Tia Rosa's and have the finest fish tacos in the country.
What about Awatuki?
And visit our portly detective?
Yeah. Is he watching tonight, you think?
Yeah, I think he's, well, I have no doubt that he's watching, immersed knee deep in Chuck E. Cheese pizza.
Krispy Kremes. 1-1. Fly ball hit to right center field. That's pretty deep. Duncan and Cedeno going back on the track. That ball is off the fence, and Ramirez has a leadoff double.
Just get it up in the air tonight, and you've got a pretty good shot. So throws a changeup. We told you that's his specialty. Well, he didn't fool Ramirez, and Duncan goes back right by his fan club, and they've got a good shot of him missing this one.
I wonder if they booed him. Here's Martinez.
Ooh, are you kidding? That's a very enthusiastic group out there.
And brave, too. Wearing the Mets colors in the bleachers. And Ramon Martinez gets a start here tonight. He'll try to get the ball to the right side and move Ramirez to third base. Cubs leading by a run, an unearned first inning run.
Cedeno has a pretty good arm in right field. It's not a great right fielder's arm, but it's pretty good. You're going to run on Perez. You're going to run on Duncan.
That ball ticketed toward left center field. Duncan on the run. Fine running catch. No advance by Ramirez. And Baco will hit with one away. Paul had a couple of hits, including his third triple of the year last night. So he's raised his average to 231. So East Mesa is going to be about the limits of your off-season travels, huh?
Well, that's the Far East. That's right down the road from the Cubs spring training headquarters, where the Ho-Ho Cams treat us so very well. And the spring training facilities are just wonderful.
Fastball at the belt for Baco. 1 strike, your count.
And you do know that spring training is right around the corner.
That it is. Pickoff play and nearly into center field. Velandia with a good effort. Oh, and 2. Minnesota gets a first inning run off Esteban Loaiza tonight. They lead 1-0 in the bottom of the second inning. Brad Radke going for the Twins.
Twins have won 3 in a row. Normally they're dominant at home. This hasn't been one of their better home years, however. They're just 7 over 500. Still tough to beat there.
Paco called out on strikes. And now Pryor will hit with 2 down.
Piazza wants it up. This one tailing right back over the plate, just under the letters. Southwest Airlines Plainview camera would take a look at a ball that had the whole plate, and Mark Wegner thought it was just the right spot.
Mark looks for his 7th RBI of the year. 0-1 the count to him. Toronto blasting the Tigers 6-2 in the 7th. Detroit has lost 111 games. Coming into play tonight. 0-2. Boston leads Tampa Bay 1-0 in the 6th. Kansas City 11-4 leading after 4 in Cleveland. And the Yankees and Orioles tied at 1 after 5. Ramirez led off this second inning with a 2-base hit off the center field wall. And now Pryor and the Cubs down to their final strike. And the inning comes to a close. Leadoff double wasted. Cubs 1, New York 0, heading to the top. As the top of the order comes up, that means Kenny Lofton's hitting first. Great pitching matchup, Steve, and the wrap up tomorrow. Kerry Wood for the Cubs, Al Leiter going for the Mets.
With the Cubs averaging 5 runs per game on this particular sequence against brand new starters, they get 5 tonight, it should be enough, and the Cubs will then look for the sweep. But Al Leiter, a pretty tough customer.
That almost clipped Kenny on the way by.
Al Leiter 14-8 with a team that's well below 500. Lofton turning out of the way at the last instant. It's real easy to say take one for the team. It's a little tougher to do it.
Down he goes on strikes. 1 up, 1 down in the 3rd. We saw Al Leiter in the 2nd game of the year up in New York. He gave up 1 run in 6 innings.
Well, the 2 great years, Al Leiter, Steve Traxel. Traxel 15-9 and Leiter 14-8. And that's for a team that's 63-86.
We were talking to the Mets broadcasters before the game last night, and you and I have talked about it a lot. We were both very surprised that Al Leiter is still a Met. Not that they didn't want to keep him, but not that the other teams wouldn't consider trying to overpay to get him. He's that talented.
He would have been a wonderful guy to have for the last couple months of the season. An overpowering lefty, a great guy on your ball club, and a pitcher that really understands what it takes to win. But he's still a Met.
And The Cubs will face him tomorrow. They're having enough trouble with Jay So here tonight. The run the Cubs have is an unearned run. Just one hit. That was the double leading off the second for Ramirez. Martinez, Paco, and Pryor could not bring him around. Chopped slowly toward third. Wigginton's going to have to hurry, and he can't make a bare hand play. Infield hit for Grunzelanek.
With 2 strikes and Wigginton back in third, you got very little chance on this one. The bare hand do or die pickup. So Grunzelanek aboard with his first hit, just the second for the Cubs.
That'll bring up Sammy. He got an RBI when the Mets couldn't complete a double play in the first inning. He hit a ground ball to the shortstop. Melania fielded cleanly, flipped to Garcia, who fired to first. The ball broke the glove of Phillips. That allowed Lofton to score and Sosa to reach. Grunzelanek a good lead. And Sammy hits a towering fly ball. Center field deep. Duncan as far as he can go. A 2-run homer for Sosa. Three RBI night for Sammy. 95 on the year, and the Cubs back in front.
We talked about this matchup in the first inning. The fact that So can't throw the fastball by Sosa. He hit a towering fly ball to center. The wind not much of a factor. And Sammy hit it out, number 35.
That moves Sosa into 11th place all time, tied with Jimmy Fox. 534 home runs for Sosa. It's the first home run for the Cubs in over 5 games. And the first for Sammy in 9 days. So it's a 3-1 ball game here in our 3rd inning of play. Next up for Sammy, Mickey Mantle. And then he'll crack the top 10. Three balls, no strikes to the left fielder, Moises Alou.
You'd have to figure that Moises would get the 3-0 green light. And if he gets one middle in, it'll be back-to-back home runs because he was right on the fastball in the first inning.
That one hit like a bullet to left field. Second time through the order, a whole lot more productive for the Cubs.
Well, didn't go out of the park, but he hit it as hard as he could hit it with the 3-0 green light. Sammy knows he got this one. That put the Cubs on top 3-1. So this inning's So not fooling anybody. And how far did it fly? 391 happy feet.
Sammy didn't hop on that.
Well, he got it real high. He wasn't too sure.
Simon sends a shot left center field. Duncan on the run on the track. He'll have room this time. 2 outs. Randall gave it a ride. And maybe a little earlier tonight, that one would have gone.
Simon gets this one out on the end of the bat and just misses hitting it out of the park.
Here's Aramis. He doubled off the fence. His first and only time up. 3-1 Cubs lead in the 3rd. Want to wish our head groundskeeper at Wrigley Field, Roger Baer, man that does such a great job of keeping the field of play and the ivy looking so lush, so green, so inviting on a daily basis. Roger celebrating his 43rd birthday today. So Roger thanks for a great job this year and many happy returns. Happy 43rd birthday tonight. Alou virtually atop the first base bag. Want to wish Betty Turvis a speedy recovery. She was unable to come to the game tonight, but some of her friends thinking of her tonight. Congratulations to the Kapinski family, a new arrival. Their son Frankie born a couple of days ago. And Ramirez pops out to the shortstop, and that'll retire the side. 2 runs, 3 hits. Sosa hits. So it's a strikeout, dead ball, runners first and second instead of second and third with 2 outs.
We'll give Mark Wegner a little credit too, because it wasn't how quickly you call it, but he listened to Tim Welke. He saw it a little bit better because Wegner was looking for the swing, not necessarily the ball hitting, in this case, Duncan.
And Paul Bacco argued as well, and his pleas were heard and agreed with. So the Cubs get a break for the moment. And Pryor now facing the opposing pitcher has Jay So down 2 strikes. Cubs getting a lot of early breaks in this game. The 0-2.
And you ask how a pitcher gets by it. At this point of the year, adrenaline's going to go a long way toward getting you by it, and then you just tough it out. Mark Pryor's a very big, strong young man. He will overcome the fact that his arm is tired. I mean, that's what happens at the end of the season to everybody. Your arm just gets a little tired.
1 ball, 2 strikes to So. Little ground ball, broke his bat. Simon will take it to the bag himself, and that will retire the side. Martinez, Bacco, and Pryor coming up in the 4th against Jay So. Out of play for a second quick strike.
This Met team is going to have to choose a general manager. A lot of people feel that Dan Duquette has shown enough since the firing of Steve Phillips to probably stay on. That will be determined, but he knows the team. He watched these guys come up through the system, and by and large he's done a real good job in a very difficult situation for the Mets.
How liberally do you think they will enter the free agent market again after the experiment with Mo Vaughn, which has not worked out? Mo has got a very bad knee. He was in very poor shape. Tom Glavine, a losing season this year with the Mets. They've shedded some of that payroll, and they're in a life and death struggle for the back page of this New York tabloids with the Yankees, who are bidding for another World's Championship.
I think they're going to have to take a long, hard look at what the payroll is going into next year. We don't know that. They're going to have to determine where they want to go and just how many building blocks they feel they have.
Broken bat, back to the mound. Martinez 0 for 2. Bacco caught looking his first time. Hits here in the home half of the 4th.
It's a tough job when you've made long-term commitments to guys who are not going to be around. And that's what the Mets found themselves doing. They've got Glavine, Leiter, and Traxel coming back, which is a pretty good threesome as far as the starting rotation is concerned. They would love to get a bona fide closer. Right. That's going to be hard to do. They got the great setup men, and now it's a bullpen by committee. They committed some big dollars to Stanton. They'd love to get Estacio back and healthy. But they're not big on rebuilding programs in New York. It's a high revenue team. Fans have phenomenal expectations, and they're looking across at the Bronx where the Yankees are in first place by 5.5 games. And that doesn't escape Fred Wilpon in his pursuit of excellence. So Fred has taken over the club. He was co-owner, as you might remember, with Nelson Doubleday. Now Fred has it himself with his sons. And they'll eventually figure it out. They have a lot of resources.
You mentioned last night their farm system, thought by many to be one of the best in Major League Baseball right now.
They've got a whole lot of talent up and down the system. The question is, will they take the next step and how quickly?
You remember the Isringhausen, Pulsifer, and Wilson triumvirate that they were touting a decade or so ago as the next great three for the New York Mets pitching rotation. Injuries sidetracked all three of them. And now Isringhausen closing for the Cardinals. Paul Wilson pitching for the Cincinnati Reds, and Pulsifer, I believe, out of baseball. That's over the inside corner, 2 outs.
It's the second time in many his bats that Paul Bacco has looked at strike 3 in approximately the same spot.
Here's Pryor. He looks at a ball inside. Good news. The Rockies behind a Todd Helton base hit in the first inning. He plates Ronnie Belliard. It's 1-0 Colorado. Go Rockies go.
They're going to have to score a lot tonight. That Houston offense in high gear.
One ball, one strike to Pryor. A big happy birthday to Kia Carter, daughter of former Cub Joe Carter, enjoying the ball game here at Wrigley Field today. So hope Kia's doing well in her studies at Northwestern University and spending some of Dad's money. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Especially out of state at Northwestern.
That's exactly right.
Joe's just going to have to hustle a little more with the golf clubs.
The 2-2 pitch is bounced off the plate up the middle. Bad hop. Volandi is stuck with it, and Phillips with the stretch at first makes a fine play. Very good defensive effort by the Mets here in the 4th inning. Kenny Lofton with yet another first inning run scored for the Cubs tonight. With this Cub pitching staff, those early runs, Steve, really are demoralizing to the opposition. It's tough to come back from early deficits against the likes of Pryor and Wood, Clement.
Well, so should have been out of that first inning. The defense gave the Cubs 5 outs. They took advantage of it by scoring a run without the benefit of a hit. You put Kenny Lofton on to lead off the inning, and normally the Cubs will find a way to score him. And on Mike Piazza, if Lofton gets on, you're going to try to run him out of the ballpark.
Wow, Lofton shocked that wasn't called a strike. I think Piazza's surprised too. Kenny stood there thinking it was a 3-1 count. Instead, it's ball 4.
Mark Wegner said it's up and out of the zone. Now keep your eye on Lofton. If you're Art Howe, you probably think about a pitch out first pitch. There's a look at Art. He knows that this is the Cub running attack. Lofton swiped 29, 11 as a Cub, been thrown out 4 times.
Art not too happy with Mr. Wegner so far tonight. No movement. Strike on a foul ball back. Out of play by Grunzelanek.
So's got pretty quick feet on his move, but his move has very little deception.
One strike pitch.
And the difference is with a left-hand pitcher, they depend on deception on their pickoff move. A right-hand pitcher depends on quickness.
Lofton, one of the few Cubs that had seen So before tonight's ball game, was 0 for 3 against him. Now, unless he had a walk in that game, he's never been to first base against the man pitching for New York. So he's still measuring off and getting a good look at the So move to first. Not going. And Grudzielanek shoots that ball toward left field. That ball's going to drop in front of Perez. Lofton, big turn, can't advance. First and second with nobody out for Sosa, who's already homered tonight. Mark Grudzielanek just keeps scorching the ball. 12 for his last 20.
This fastball on the inner portion winds up in left field. And the third time through the order should be real tough for Jay So. He doesn't have particularly good stuff tonight. The Cubs haven't hit him real hard, but they're about ready to do that. Nobody up and throwing in the bullpen yet for the Mets.
Sammy digging in. He looks real comfortable at the plate tonight. A homer, 3 runs batted in. That's a ball away. 1 ball, no strikes. This date in baseball history, Sammy Sosa, you recall, back in that magical 1998 season, hit a milestone home run. Shot to left center field. Perez on the run, still going. He's there, makes the grab. Lofton will tag from second and move to third on a laser beam and line drive out.
The bullpen up and going for the Mets. Vern Rule, the pitching coach, realizing that Jay So might be running out of magic. This is the changeup away, and Sammy gets it off the end of the bat, and he knows he didn't get it. Wisely, Lofton tags up, but you get that throw into second base, you keep the double play in order. And Moises has been right on the ball twice.
He's lined to left and singled in the home run of which I was speaking for Sosa. A grand slam against Brian Boehringer. That was his 63rd home run that season. Cubs beat the Padres by a 6-3 score. In fact, Sammy drove in all 6 runs that day. Similar story here tonight. He's hit the only Cub home run and has driven in all 3 for Dusty Baker in tonight's middle game of this series. First and third for Alu. Boo, says the crowd. We saw enough of that from last night's start. Jeremy Griffiths used that move an awful lot.
It worked equally well last night.
Exactly. One ball, no strikes. Toronto sends Detroit to another defeat. That's 112 on the year. White Sox trailing in Minnesota 4-0 after 4. Minnesota up a half game in the Central. 1-0 pitch to Alu. Check swing roller. Lofton holds. The throw to second is in time. Crowd thought And Garcia came off the bag. And with one out, Lofton didn't move. Now Dusty's going to come out and argue the call of Chuck Merriweather out at second base.
We'll take another look at it. Moises with an excuse me swing. It looked like he had his foot on the bag long enough.
We've seen guys called out with a whole lot less contact than that at second base. And it looks to me like Merriweather got the call absolutely right. First and third, 2 outs for Simon. Heads up play by So too.
Well, he took a look at third and froze Lofton and then went to second base. Most unusual. Pitcher usually goes to first, but he opened the door for a big inning. Unfortunately for the Cubs, Garcia made a nice play.
So they're at first and third for Simon. Randall sends that sizzler out of play.
Well, this is a big at bat for Randall Simon because you start out the inning first and second, nobody out, and you can't come up empty here.
Big emotional swing, perhaps. 1-1 pitch. Line down the third base line, and Lofton tries to dig himself a hole over at third base. Did that get him?
No, I think he got out of the way, but I think the quick movement, he might have hurt himself. Kenny Lofton went down to try to avoid some contact, and he comes up gimpy. This is a rocket in foul territory, and Lofton taking his lead in foul territory, getting down in a hurry. You can't blame him there. And he appears that he's going to be okay.
It almost looked like he did a hurdler stretch, trying to limbo out of the way of that laser beam foul. One ball, 2 strikes to the Cub first baseman Randall Simon, hitting here in the 5th. Ground ball to the shortstop. Funny hop. Valandia, though, flips to second, and the Cubs indeed do come up empty in the 5th inning. They're booing Chuck Merriweather, but the umpire at second to It's a towering fly ball to right field. That should be caught, and it is by Cedeno. And he slams into the ivy and gets a dousing as well. 1 out.
This one just missed going out. Cedeno goes all the way back, and whoever does that should be thrown out of the ballpark. There's no excuse for that.
Here's Ramon Martinez. He's 0 for 2. No swing. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2-1. Phillies beat the Marlins 14-0. Final
The
score.
wild card race is getting awfully close.
Phillies are a half game back now. Dodgers are only 2.5 back.
Dodgers are only a game back in the loss column, and they have far and away the best pitching in the league. And they have one thing with Smoltz out now that nobody else has, and that's an automatic at the end of the game. Eric Gagne has been letter perfect.
Arizona, you see, in Los Angeles, Schilling against Kaz Ishii tonight. At Chavez Ravine. That one popped up back toward us and unplayable for Piazza. 3-2. Baco waits on deck. Look out. Down on strikes is Martinez. The only thing he hit was a fan sitting in the third row. Is everybody okay?
That one just missed John Madigan.
He'd be a good guy to miss hitting with a bat.
Well, he's got some pretty good seats. I will say that.
He must know somebody. Strike one to Paul Baco. That's off the plate to the Cubs catcher.
Well, the Mets about hit the Cubs tonight, and you got to give Jay So a little credit. He didn't have the best stuff coming out. The Cubs took advantage of him in the third inning. He wiggled off the hook last inning. And so far, Mark Pryor is making those 3 runs hold up. But it's a tenuous lead at best. So will be taken down for a pinch hitter next inning.
He's due up second. The 1-2 pitch to Baco. Missed the corner by an eyelash. And Baco is down on strikes. That off-speed stuff from So has been real tough so far tonight.